everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How you doing? Yay. Okay, so today is a big day. Today's an even bigger day. How many of you guys have been doing the Rise Up Now challenge since Monday? I want you to put me in the comment section. I want you to put me in the comment section. Unless you're driving, Amy Winslow, then don't do that. But I got your hands up, right? So if you've been on since Monday, has it been good? Like, has it been great? I mean, I feel like you've learned sales lead offers. You've learned how to repositioning your marketing. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. And so you've been, I'm like, they told me to come in this room. You've got your marketing, you've got your sales lead offers, you've got how to repackage yourself, right? There's so many things that we have been talking about over the last 5 days that I feel like it's been wild to look in the Facebook group where I'm seeing all these people who are like, I'm making money. How many of you guys are starting to make money, or you're making movement, money or movement? You're seeing things move forward. Put money or movement, right? Put MM in the comments section. If things are, Brenda Lee's like, I'm starting to make money, I'm starting to make movements, MM, right? So some of you guys are starting to see this whole thing move. And that's powerful because it's the power of the proximity of us hanging out together and the Facebook group. How many of you guys have been posting in the Facebook group? Put Facebook in the comment section. If you've been literally commenting in the Facebook group and you've been in there doing homework, go ahead and share that with us. It's so good. I've been in there commenting on your guys' stuff and reading it. It has been nothing less than completely inspiring to see you guys step up. It fires me up to keep going. So just talking to VIP today, before we jumped on just for a couple minutes, and we were talking about how it took me 2 years, my guest who's going to be coming on now, took me 2 years to be able to actually take the coaching. So how many of you guys, you've been a little slow to take some coaching, right? The word slow in the comment section, like, let's just be honest so that we can unhook some people from just feeling guilty or feeling like there's something wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong with you, right? It's you're staying in the seat and you're continuing to move forward. That's endurance. That means that you are developing problem-solving skills and you haven't given up. There is a huge badge of honor for that. And we want to take today, and I've asked my guest, who I coached with her for, 3 or 4 years. And the first 2 years, I paid $25,000, put 25 in the comment section. I paid $25,000 to be able to coach with her each year. In fact, I'll tell a really funny story. With my coaching, I got a VIP day with her. Suzanne, you might remember this. And I was so mad one year, but I learned one of my best leadership skills that I still use today. And Suzanne, I know you'll remember this, but I had a VIP day and I got to the end of the year. It was like October, November. And I sent a message to Suzanne's office and I said, hey, I want to book my VIP day. She was going to like Paris or somewhere for her vacation, and her schedule was full. And she said to me, I'm sorry, I don't have any space. And I said, well, so that's okay. Like, just put it in January, put it in February, right? Does that make sense, y'all? Like, sounds logical. Put the word logical if you agree with my thinking here, right? And so it sounds logical. I was like, just put it in January, February. I thought I was being a really nice, student or client. And she goes, Shanda, no, I'm not moving this year's workload into next year. I was so mad. I called my friend Ree Perez, who we both coached with Suzanne, and Ree wouldn't let me. Some of you guys need a friend like this. He wouldn't let me sit in my shit, right? Like, he's like, Shanda, like, and I'm like, I'm not renewing with her. I'm so mad. And I'm like, I feel like I paid for that VIP day. That was one of the biggest things that I wanted in this coaching program. I want to share this with you guys because this changed my life. Because Lee didn't buy into my stuff, because Ree just really stood with me, he's like, Shanda, you are responsible. And everybody else in the group booked at the beginning of the year, but I didn't. And I had a habit of doing things last minute. How many of you guys have that habit? Put habit, right? Like, because I want to see you, put habit. If you have a habit of doing things last minute, put it out there. So I could have cut my nose off to spite my face. I did renew with Suzanne. I've made millions and millions, and I can't even count for how many millions of dollars I've made speaking now, and how many people that I've been able to help. Because you guys know, when we get into a room, things change, right? I'm going to tell you whether you're speaking on a Zoom, speaking on an Instagram live, speaking at a live event, or speaking to your family. If you don't know how to prioritize the sound bites, right? If you're talking too long to your husbands and they're kind of rolling their eyes or not listening, the problem isn't them. I want you to take your power back and go, the problem is that you're not learning how to hook. You're not learning how to keep people's attention. And so how are you going to make a big difference in your business? So even if you don't have a vision to speak for events, I'm going to tell you, you need to know how to speak. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like, you need to know how to speak, because if you can't speak, you can't keep people's attention. And if you're worried about what you're saying, you're in big trouble, because you're in here versus in your heart to serve. Get what I'm saying? So I share all of that with you because my next guest has helped completely transform my fears into faith, my fears into massive amounts of finances. And I asked her to come on to the Rise Up Now challenge. I said, Suzanne, if you had to go create $1 million, right? And I'm not going to go first million, even though she'll talk about that, right? It's like, I'm going to tell you, I hope you're never in a position in your life that you don't run out of money. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I hope you are visioning, right? Like, I'm sitting here at Grant's office, everything's 10x, right? It's like, here's your target audience. Well, who else? How can you 10x that target audience? Right? Like everybody talks about this vertical and this niche, but your vertical and your niche can actually work with a couple different niches if it's marketed differently, right? Like, I can show you, if you're a teacher or you're an educator, how to stop getting paid the small dollars from the school and how to take that education and that advice and go get paid $20,000 for a day. Even though you might not believe that's possible, I do. So I could hook just with teachers and go out there and pull a bunch of teachers in. And what often we do is we just speak to everyone, and we actually don't get personal with anyone. So Suzanne has helped me not only storytell, but speak, but she's going to help you do that as well. So can you guys go in the chat? And by the way, I'm going to give out $200 gift cards today for people who share in the comments section. Not like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, but I want to see what's landing for you. And so does she. Because when we see what's landing for you, what we're doing right there is we're actually surveying, right? And I want you to know that when you speak, there's a survey happening. It's how you know, it's how I know when I say the words, I was so broke it hurt. Have you guys ever been so broke it hurt? Put yes if you ever have. I was so broke it hurt in my life that I remember sitting on the floor. That's something that I started to develop with Suzanne. It was the talk about my story that when I watched the audience, I saw when the audience had an emotional charge on it. I know certain things in the stories or how I speak that you can repurpose for other things to help people move emotionally and actually purchase from you, because at the end of the day, you're the bridge for somebody to have a better life somewhere. You get it, what I'm saying? So I want to see the survey today, and we're going to give out $200 gift certificates to people who are actually in there telling us what's landing. Right? So here's what's landing for me. Here's what's landing for me. That's the language I'm looking for. Here's what's landing for me. Okay, you got it? Yes? Sound good? All right, let's bring Suzanne Evans to the platform.
Hello, Shanda. Thank you for having me. I've got so much. How long do I have? Tell me really quickly.
You have about 35 minutes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, I only need 3 days, but I'll do it in 35 minutes. Okay.
Okay, so, first of all, I just want to say thank you for being here. I love you. I love working with you. And I'm so glad that we're such close friends. So I'm going to handing the screen over to you now. And I'll be over here taking it.
Perfect. Well, I love her too. And here's the thing. The story she just told was when she came to me to ask that piece about, like, can I do the VIP day? Here's the thing. I'm not going to lead her. I had to teach her to lead herself. And when you learn to lead yourself, which is what Shanda's program does, she's going to talk about later. I'm going to talk about it later. And if you haven't jumped in yet and you are expecting a miracle on this call, it's not going to happen. You make your miracles. You actually make your miracles. So if I had said, yes, I'll put it on the books and I'll change my life around, I would have been leading myself into disaster as opposed to teaching her to lead herself. And that's another thing that speaking does. So here's what I want everybody to put in the chat really quick. Tell me who you admire as a leader. Put like your leader in the chat that you're like, this is somebody that I'm like, they lead the hell out of life, right? They are a leader, right? Shanda, absolutely. Put some people beside Shanda. which I agree, but put some people, Fannie Lou Hammer, awesome. Grant Cardone, Sarah Jakes Roberts. Oh my Lord, I can quote some Sarah Jakes Roberts for you. Come on, people, let's go to Business Church. All right, Steve Harvey, Dean Gracioso. All right, chat freeze. When I say chat freeze, it means stop putting in the chat. Put your hands up in the air. Let me see them in the air. Come on, it's a chat freeze, hands in the air. Now, tell me what every single person on that list has in common. Shanda and Oprah and Trevor and Tony Robbins and Stu and Dean Gracioso. What is it they all have in common? Yes, they're successful. Yes, they have a great mindset. Yes, all of that stuff. There is one, yes, they speak. So let me tell you something right now. If you showed up for this challenge and you showed up because you want to lead yourself, you showed up because you want to be an inspiration and you want to be a leader to others, you showed up because you want to be an income leader, you want to be a thought leader, you want to be a business leader, you want to be a spiritual leader, you want to be a health leader, you want to be a leader in your industry, you are never going to lead if you don't speak. And that's the core of every single person. Ed Milet, every person you're putting in there, the core of what they do is speaking. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. So I want to share with you really quickly how I went from a secretary to a multiple seven-figure business owner. I was a secretary. I was sitting in a cubicle. I was making $45,000 a year living in New York City, and I wasn't sure what it was I wanted to do with my life. I will shrink the story because I want to get you so much content today, but I came across coaching. I fell in love with coaching and I launched a coaching business. And here's the part I want you to hear today. Here's the part I want you to hear. I was working a 60-hour-a-week day job. I was working a 60-hour-a-week day job, and working that 60-hour-a-week day job, I was like, I'm going to do this kind of on nights and weekends. And I did what most incredible leaders do. I got ready to start to plan, to almost be ready to start planning to get something going. Can I get a hell yeah in the chat if anybody can relate to that, right? Like starting to get ready. That is not leadership. That makes you a hoe, H-O. Do you know what that stands for? You're a hobbyist owner. So all of you are either hoes or you're bows. Hoes are hobbyist owners. Bows are business owners. And business owners lead. And when they don't know how to lead, how many of you raise your hand at me and didn't know how to lead yourself at one point? Because we've all been there. They find a leader and they follow them until they learn how to lead, right? And that's the next step. So I was starting to get ready. I worked in the Broadway theater industry. We were having a terrible time in the business I was working for. We had just lost $12 million in revenue. We were trying to open a new show called Sweet Charity, trying to bring it out of town. And I was like playing with this hobbyist owner idea of starting a business. If you know anything about Broadway theater, you know that if you're in dress rehearsals, which we were, they are 16-hour days. And we were in 16-hour days, and I was thinking about getting ready. And I'm sitting on the third row of the theater, and there's this number in Sweet Charity where these gorgeous women with legs above my head, Christina Applegate was starring in the show. She'd broken her attitude in Minneapolis and she'd broken her ankle in Detroit. Everything was a damn mess. I opened 5 Broadway shows. I put Reba McEntire into Annie Get Your Gun. I put Usher into Chicago. And this was just one of the worst times we'd ever been in my time at the company. So I'm sitting on the third row, thinking about my life and what I might start to do. No leadership, no self-leadership. And these women come to the front of the stage and there's this number where they sing, there's got to be something better than this. There's got to be something bigger to do. And when I find that something better to do, I'm going to get up, get out and go live it. And I went, shit, they are singing to me. And I'm an evolved woman because I watch Oprah. First you get the whisper, then you get the tap, then you get the 2x4. And if I don't get this business going, I'm going to get hit by a cab. Seriously. So I, the next morning, got up and I called every single person I had in my cell phone. Leadership. I didn't care who they were. I didn't care if I was embarrassed to call them. I didn't care what it looked like. And I got 2 clients at $50 each. I had them pay me $50 a month. It was nothing. But you know what? I was in business, right? I was in business. And so fast forwarding some parts of that story so we get to the content today, but I want to use this as an example. I built my business to 6 figures in year 1 while working a 60-hour-a-week day job. So when you tell me you don't have the time, what you tell me is you don't know how to lead yourself and organize yourself. When you tell me I've got too much to do, what you're telling me is I've got too much of the wrong thing to do. Can I get an amen? Can we go to business church, people? Come on, right? When you tell me I don't know what to do, you're saying I'm not willing to make a decision because I'm not in a leadership zone. Right? So I built that business to 6 figures in year 1 as a side hustle. I stayed in that job. Do you know why I stayed in that day job? Because I'm a leader and because I was figuring out leadership, because a job is the best business loan you'll ever have. It's no interest and you don't have to pay it back. So I built the business to $250,000 a year in year 2 while working a 60-hour-a-week day job. I, of course, eventually left that job and the business went to $1 million in 10 months. And I'm the only female business coach to have landed on the Inc. 500 5 straight years in a row for fastest growing companies in America. I have a New York Times bestselling book called The Way You Do Anything is the Way You Do Everything. So I went from a secretary to a multiple 7-figure business, and I did it doing one thing: speaking. That's all I did. Speaking. It's all I could do because I was in a 60-hour-a-week day job. So how can you use this one thing to become a powerful leader, to become a thought leader, to become a leader in your industry, to become the leader that you are seeking to be? There's a few ways, and let's talk about this. So the first thing I did is I intentionally just told you my story because I wanted you to get to know me a little bit, but I also wanted to use it as an example. That story was not about me, and this is important for you to know. That story wasn't about me. That story was about you. How many of you have struggled to get something going and you've procrastinated? That story was not about me. That story was about you. How many of you have been in a situation where you were trying to figure out what you wanted to be when you grow up? You were trying to figure out the next move in your life, right? Raise your hand if that's ever been you, right? That story was not about me. That story was about you. How many of you have been a secretary or been in a cubicle or been making $40,000 a year and had no money? Wave your hand at the screen if that was you. That story was about you. I just happened to be in that story. And that's how you whiplash an audience. That's how you get their attention, right? So here's the deal about speaking and why speaking is the most powerful platform to make 7 figures, right? I did 7 figures in the last 7 days. I just ended an event that I did on Friday. And of course, that was a 3-day event. The first speaking gig Shanda did, she probably doesn't remember this, but the very first speaking gig she got like on a colleague stage. It was a small gig. It was like 45 minutes and she did $27,000 in 45 minutes. And I remember she called me and she went, "Oh my God." She was like, "I don't know what to do." And I was like, "Oh God, what happened?" And she was like, "I made like $27,000. And then she went on to do her 3-day event. In her very first one, she did like $870,000. So the fastest path to cash is speaking. And here's why it's the fastest path to cash. Speaking is recession proof. Speaking is chaos proof. Speaking is pandemic proof. Speaking will never get high-teched out. Speaking is the #1 communication and cash generating tool that you will ever have because it is, and excuse me, but it's unfuckable with. You can't mess with it because nothing in the economy, nothing in the environment, nothing socially can stop it from working. So what does speaking look like? There's a multitude of ways you can speak. Shanda mentioned 3-day events. You can speak. This is a speaking gig. I'm in a speaking gig right now. She asked me to be here. You can speak virtually. You can speak in person, live on stages. A Facebook Live is a speech. A webinar is a speech. Shanda is brilliant at teaching people to do summits. That is a speech. Here's the thing. Put in the chat like what you think your primary business tool might be in getting leads. Like for some of you, it's going to be webinars. For some of you, like just put in the chat, like, here's what I'm thinking my primary tool is going to be. Video. Awesome, Derek. Summits. Awesome. Live streams. Webinars, global retreats. So retreats, webinars, Instagram, master classes, writing. I'm going to be referral and mouth to mouth, right? Every single thing all of you just put in the chat requires you to be an incredible speaker. This is a writer downer. If you cannot captivate, you cannot connect. If you cannot connect, you cannot convert. And if you don't convert, you make $0. So the way this goes back is if you can become captivating, if you can become inspiring, that's how you get clients. And listen, I am a marketing and a business coach. I'm mainly a speaking coach, right? Because I teach marketing and business through speaking. But here's the deal. Of course, I work with my clients on all types of strategies. But the bottom line is the strategies are like having a nail and never buying a hammer if you're not a great communicator. Look at that. I cannot understand why my house isn't getting built. Well, you got a box full of nails, but you don't have any hammer to actually drive them in. So here's the path to becoming a wealthy leader. Write this down, OPP, OPP. Ready for this? OPP, other people's people. Other people's people. When you are starting out, and it's also the basis of a summit, which Shanda teaches, when you're starting out, right? Or if you are not starting out and you're trying to scale, everybody has a leads issue. Everybody does. The world has a leads issue. Every business has a leads issue. Amazon has a leads issue. Everybody has a leads issue because when you get leads, right, that's how you get more clients and customers. So you want to use other people's people. What does that mean? If you don't have your own people, you want to book stages where your ideal client is booked. If you don't have people, you want to get on other people's Facebook Live platforms. If you don't have people, you want to be an invited guest, like I'm an invited guest for Shanda here today, at other people's events, meetings, conferences, workshops. You want to go where people already are. Do you see how much easier it is to go where people already are as opposed to going, I'm going to go try to find all these people? That's the beauty of building a summit. Other people bring their people to you, right? So the bottom line is that speaking is the cornerstone to OPP, other people's people. You become a captivating, inspiring, incredible speaker, and then you're able to take that out into OPP. And that's how I built a 7-figure business in under 3 years. That's how I was able to work a 6. So all of you are going, but I got kids and I got cats and I got a job and I got problems, right? Like, who cares? You deliver. I'm going to do some speaker math for you. Here's speaker math for you. All right. You book 2 speaking gigs a month, and there's only 25 people at each of those speaking gigs. So 2 gigs, 25 people, we're talking tall, we're talking small, they can be virtual, they can be in person, they can be on a social platform, whatever it is about 50 people that you got in front of. Everybody got it? 2 gigs, 50 people you got in front of. You make what I call a freaking fabulous free offer. And my lowest converting clients convert that fabulous free offer at 30%. So if you're in front of 50 people, you've now got 15 people. Now just imagine doing this at scale on a huge webinar or on a stage in front of 2,000 people. I'm showing you how to do it tiny pieces here because I'm showing you how easy it is even to do it with small numbers. So you convert it 30%, 15 people. So 15 people do something with you. They have a one-on-one call with you, or they're doing a small group with you where you're converting. And you have a $10,000 offer, right? You have a $10,000 offer. At minimum, you should be converting at 20%. So now I just closed 3 people into my $10,000 offer. I just had a $30,000 month from doing 2 speaking gigs with 25 people in them each. Come on, people. Why are you making this so hard, right? Why are you on the marketing hamster wheel? Why are you making this complicated? Why are you feeling like I can't do this because I need to be high tech? There's no high tech involved in this. That's a $30,000 month. Now, here's where the math gets really fun with speaker math, right? Speaker math, right? Here's where it gets really fun. You should have a back end offer, which that could be a $25,000 offer, right? Out of those 3%, one person is going to upsell themselves into that higher level offer. So now you're at like $55K a month. Somebody good at math here. How do you get to $1 million a year? Just make it 2 gigs with 50 people each, or do 4 gigs a month with 25 people each. All you need to do is speak in front of 100 people a month, and that's a 7-figure year. Now, I'm also going to show you how to do a 7-figure weekend, but that's a 7-figure year. I love, Stacy, that your heart is pounding. I love that your heart is pounding. You know why? When I teach this to people, they freak out. And do you know why they freak out? Because the simplicity of it, the ability to focus on one great talk. I say all the time, one speech changes everything. Now, let me show you the speech bubble. Let me show you how you make you a lot more money. Here's the speech bubble. Get ready to write this down, everybody. Here is your speech, right? Does this make sense, everybody? You got your speech. You write one great, captivating, inspiring speech. And speaking of being captivating, inspiring, and leaders, let me just tell y'all something really quick. The Zoom room, with the amount of people on it, only 50% of you are on camera. 50% of you, which tells me 50% of you will actually make money. 50% of you are leaders. Let me just show you something. If I walked into a room right now to give a talk, and we were at like a hotel ballroom, let's say, right? We're like in a hotel ballroom, and there's, you know, hundreds of you like there is here, and I'm going to give a talk, and I walked in like this, and I was like, hey, everybody, you know, like, I'm really excited to be here, because really I'm here because I want to connect with people, and I'm really wanting to inspire you. Come on, really? Are you serious? That's what you're doing when you're not on camera. You're like, I want to be a leader. I want to make money. I want to have 7 figures. I want people to follow me. I want to be the standard in my industry, but I'm not willing to get on camera. I'm not willing to show up. I hope I can do it and be a voyeur. Yeah, you know what you can be a voyeur doing? Watch me making money. Come on. Right, Brenda? Are you with me, Brenda? Are you with me, Zena? Are you with me, Heather? That's what I'm talking about. You cannot be a success and be a secret. You cannot half-ass show up and expect to get full paydays. Half leadership gets you half paydays, right? So you got to get with it. So you got your speech, right? This is the speech bubble. You got your speech. When you write one speech, it becomes your content for everything else. So that speech, now watch this, that speech becomes all of your social content, because you take that speech and you chop it up into social bits for 52 weeks, and that is all of your content on your social platforms, right? When you have that one speech and you're going to do a summit, it becomes the content for your summit, right? It's the content that you weave through as you interview other people. When you do that one speech, it becomes all of the content for your webinars or masterclasses. When you create that one speech, so we created one speech for Shanda, and then that one speech was expanded to become her 3-day event. It becomes your event. When you write that one speech, what do you think all my email copy is? It comes from that talk. So I actually could put 20 bubbles around here. I'm just giving you the idea for today, but one speech changes everything. So bottom line is, and now I'm going to show you exactly how to actually craft that speech. So you want to know that if you want to sell more things and you want to be a leader, people come to me all the time. They say, oh, Miss Suzanne, you're one of the best salespeople I've ever seen. I go, it's so funny because I never sell anything. And they go, well, what do you mean you never sell anything? I just bought something for you. I go, no, I tell stories. Because if you tell stories that inspire people, you will never have to sell anything a day in your life. I don't sell things. Here's my definition of sales. Write this down and then get it tattooed on your left ass cheek. Sales is the transference of inspiration. Sales is the transference of inspiration. So when you inspire people to a level where they take on that inspiration for themselves, you don't have to sell a thing. All you do is say, here's the next step. And they go, don't leave me behind. So what feels better, chasing people for credit cards or people going, don't leave me behind? That's the power of storytelling. That's the power of speaking. That's how you have 7-figure paydays. So other people's people, right? That's the power of speaking. When you are able to get in front of other people's people and you have an amazing speech and you have a great, fabulous, freaking free offer or a paid offer, depending on what you're doing, that makes your ability to become a leader, to be a leader, and to step into leadership so much faster and to make money so much faster. When you do the speaker math, you can literally do 2 talks a month and build a 7-figure business. You don't have to be doing 20 things. You don't have to be distracted. You don't have to be figuring out the next hottest high-tech trend. You can go, I know how to communicate. Here's the deal. You put me in a room of 8 people and I will walk out with between 6 and 7 figures every single time. You know why? Because I am focused on what people want. Half of you who put me in the chat if you have a product, program, or service, right? Put me in the chat if you're out there sharing your product, program, or service, right? Zena and Heather and Connie and Dr. Robert and Cynthia and Amy and Alicia, you've got it. Here's the problem. Until you wrap an amazing speech that captivates people, that grabs people's attention. I'll tell you an example of a great whiplash, and then I will give you my IEAM formula for writing a great speech. I'll give you an example of a great whiplash. This is how I'm able, because I've worked on this so much, that any room I go into, I can craft a whiplash, which means you grab them by the shirt collar and they want to pay attention to you for the full hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, whatever it is. I've worked on this so much. It's what I teach my clients to do. It's what we taught Shanda to do, that it becomes easy. So I was speaking at an event. I had no idea I was going to be the only female speaker. I get there. It's 400 people in the audience. Literally 360 of them were men. There was like 30, 40 women in the audience. I was the only female speaker. It was Gary Vaynerchuk. It was the big players. So the next morning I take the stage and the audience was polite. Like they had jumped up and cheered for every other speaker. I was the only female speaker and they were nice. They were a nice group, but they politely cheered. And I was like, they're going to be polite to me to 60 Minutes. And I didn't come here for them to be polite. I came here to get paid. That's a writer downer. I didn't come here for them to be polite. I came here to get paid. So I get in the front of the room and I say, oh my gosh, so excited to be here. I had no idea I was going to be the only female speaker. I said, I was standing in the back of the room last night, looking at the sea of incredible men. And what do you think I was thinking? And one man, I just said, just yell it out. One man on the 3rd row said, you were thinking like men are coming together in power. And I said, okay, no, that's not what I was thinking. And another man said that men are being conscious around money. And I said, no, that's not what I was thinking. Said, you, sir. And another gentleman said that men have the ability to build community. And I said, no, I was actually thinking even a fat chick could get laid in this room. And they all fell out laughing. They died laughing. I got a standing ovation, and it was the highest converting room that I have ever had. And here's why. Because I was able to understand in the moment. Now, not everybody is my style. I can get away with that. Tiffany Berg is not saying that. I know Tiffany. I adore Tiffany, but she's not saying that in the room. But you will have your own style and way of things that you're doing it. But when you can whiplash a room like that, they were right here for 60 minutes. So what is the strategy for actually building the talk? Inspire, educate, ask, motivate. Inspire, if somebody could throw that in the chat. Inspire, educate, ask, motivate, right? The inspiration is what I just shared with you with that little whiplash. It's going to look different a lot. I came out today I talked a little bit about Shanda, but then I went into how do you become a leader? Write your favorite leaders in the chat. Okay, and you want to be on that list. Well, if you want to be on that list, you better learn to deliver a hell of a speech. You better learn to convert from stage. You better learn to put on events. You better learn to put on your own 3-day events. You better learn to walk into a boardroom and get people to pay attention to you. You better learn to wow every room, right? So you lead with your inspire. And then I told a signature story. My signature story was my sweet charity story. That story is not about me. That story is about you. I just happened to be in that story. But what happened in that story? Everybody put in the chat what you got out of that story, right? What did you get out of that story? Hearing me tell that story, right? Somebody said, I got inspiration. I got possibility. I got their attention. You got my attention. I got hope. I got somebody saying broke hurts. I could relate. You also learned about me, right? Because I was able to plug that in. So credibility, like, I went from a secretary to 7 figures. That's the inspiration piece. And then I laid out the pain in this room. And the pain is in this room is you want to be a leader, but you're not all doing leadery things. You all want to be leaders, but you're not doing leadery things. And a mandatory item on the leadership list is being a speaker. That's the inspiration. Then I've been in the education piece now for probably 20, 25 minutes or so, right? I've been teaching you OPP. I've been teaching you the formula. I taught you speaker math. So now I'm in the education piece, right? And when you're speaking, you would then go into the transition of the ask piece. You would be asking them either to purchase your product, program, or service. This is where you would offer your fabulous freebie, whatever that is. And then the last part is, and of course, I teach this for multiple days. I'm giving you the 5-minute version here. And then it's motivate, right? You have to give people a reason to say yes now. Shanda's been sharing her leadership program with you. And she didn't say, oh, y'all, you can join at any time. Just join anytime, right? We'll be here. We just sit around and wait for you to read. No, she gave you opportunities. She gave you bonuses. She gave you deadlines. She gave you limiters, because here's the bottom line. Nobody says, 10% of the population says yes immediately. It's a special group of people. The other 90% that say yes have to be given a reason to say yes. They need to be motivated. They need to be given momentum. They need a deadline. How many of you that went to university or college would have never written a paper if they said, turn it in anytime? Never. You would have never turned it in. How many of you, right? You need deadlines. And so the motivation piece is motivate people to be inspired by stepping into their own greatness in that moment, not a week from now, not an hour from now, not 2 days from now, but now. And that is the layout of every speech that Shanda Sumter has ever given, and the layout of every speech I have ever given, and the layout of every 3-day event we have ever given. It is a simple formula, and it gets complicated when you don't do it. That's what makes it complicated. It is a simple formula. And so I'm able to take that formula and any day of the week, book a gig or be invited to a gig or host my own gig and create 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, right? Over the last 7 days, I've done 7 figures by delivering the talk that I just taught you how to deliver. The only difference between me and you, and this is where I'm going to end, is that I'm willing to be embarrassed and you're not. I'm willing to make a fool of myself and you're not. I built my 6-figure business by standing in a Whole Foods grocery store between the organic tomatoes and bananas, asking people if they wanted to talk about life coaching. And all of them said no. And you know what? People ask me all the time, what if you lost it all, Suzanne? I had a little sign that I printed at Kinko's that said Blueprint Life Coaching on it. And that sign is now framed and hangs in my office because people say, what would happen if you lost it all? So I'd take that damn sign off the wall and go back to a grocery store. You know what? I'm not afraid to ask people to work with me, and I'm not afraid to share my life experience. My life experience has value. I am a child of God. I was put here because I have something to share. I have something to teach. Every shitty thing that has ever happened to me was in divine plan so that I can turn it around and use all of my wounds for weapons of change. And that's what speaking does. If you want your life to be better, go out and speak. If you want your life to become real, go out and speak. I don't think of you as the audience and me as the speaker. I think of us in a partnership. And every time I show up in front of you, my life becomes more real. My dreams become more real. My money becomes more real, and yours does too. So here's the deal, folks. If you want to be a leader, you got to be a speaker. And if you're going to be a speaker, right, you've got to learn to captivate people, because you can't get ahead until you get attention. Shanda, there you go.
Good. I'm loving it. How many of you guys? Okay, so bring me back up with Suzanne. So Suzanne, I remember that story of you being in the grocery store. Actually, funny enough, this is what great leadership does, right? You talk about people behind their back in a good way. Bad leadership talks about people behind their back in a negative way, right? And so I was telling that story the other day. I was saying, Suzanne, literally, like, this is wild to think. You guys think about this, like let it in, right? Like, how many of you guys, like, I was the girl that when I hired Suzanne, and we're like really close friends now. We help each other in business. We coach each other. We're like super close friends now. But I was the girl that when someone like Suzanne would say, let's go speak, I would be sick. How many of you guys pretended to be sick in business? Just don't leave me hanging out here. Put the word sick in the comment section. Please do not. I know I'm not the only one who all of a sudden got a headache or all of a sudden had period cramps. I actually never use the period cramps, but like, it's like, I've got the flu, and then you actually make yourself sick and you go to bed because you don't want to be a liar. Right? You don't want to be a liar, but the truth is that you're scared. Who's a little scared, right? About going out there. I think about Suzanne. I think about you in the Whole Foods, literally between the bananas and the apples or wherever you really were. I'm sure you have a great visual of that. And I think about when I moved to America.
Yep.
Because everybody closed my back doors, like my option was go back home to live with my parents. So here's a little hook, y'all. To get yourself to move, figure out your worst case scenario and get good with it. My worst case scenario at the time was moving back home with my parents. And so I knew I wasn't going to be dead, right? However, I didn't want that worst case scenario. And so I walked door to door to restaurants and asked them to hire me in the heat of Las Vegas to find a job. And I didn't have a car, so I borrowed my boyfriend's at the time that had no window in the back left. Like, you remember this stuff, right? Like your victim story can't stay there because you got to get out of it, because that's the hero story. And everybody wants to speak, but the problem is that you're still sitting in the victim story. And I mean that with respect, but I mean, when you get perspective, everything changes. When you get perspective, you're like, holy shit, Suzanne was in the Whole Foods. Holy shit, Shanda was like walking restaurant to restaurant. And here's what I've learned.
Shanda, I was fat, gay, and broke. Yeah. I was fat. Listen, Shanda's got a whole list of problems. We all do. We're human. But I know a lot of you look at Shanda and you go, God, she's gorgeous. And look at Shanda. Listen, I'm a fat ass woman. I'm a big woman doing this. And I was totally broke and I'm gay. So all of those things, right? So you go, but I can't be a leader because of, right? You're a leader because of those things, not in spite of those things. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but what I wanted to share is that what I've learned, and this keeps me going all the time, what I've learned is a little bit of effort. Like a little bit of courage effort. I'm not saying burning through your day with busy energy, because that's shit. It's never produced anything for you. It's never produced anything from us. Like, being busy, this is prioritizing the right thing. So you got to prioritize money. Some of you guys need to prioritize money, which means you get rid of the things that don't produce money, right? You just get rid of them. I know they're important. I know you love them, but get rid of them. But it took 2 restaurants. It was the second restaurant that hired me in Vegas. Do you know what I mean? Like the little bit of courage effort. It's the thing that you're so afraid to do that if you just start doing it. When I was in real estate, it was one day of sending out videos of me asking investment groups in the UK through video if they wanted a contact in America, because America was on sale. And by the end of the week, I had 2 real estate investment groups. So I'm just sharing this all with you because the thought that it's impossible is such crap. I have never found it's actually taken long to really make money. What's taken a long time is to get you to take action, and that's your leadership. So Suzanne, I know that we talked about this, and I said, can you hook this audience up? There's a bunch of people who have jumped into HCL, our Heart Core Leadership Program, earlier this week. Right? In the last couple of days. So you have a gift for them. So you guys, I love speed, and it also rewards action takers. So you guys who have already jumped into Heart Core Leadership, right? Write the word leadership if you already jumped in or you're in right now. We are going to give you access to something really powerful. Go ahead, share.
So here's the deal. For the bridge I just want to say about this is what Shanda just said is so powerful. If you are committed to being a leader, see, she's not putting you in a leadership program to teach you confidence. You can't teach confidence, but you can unlearn embarrassment. You can unlearn embarrassment. And that is a huge part of this. And then the speaking part of this is what Shanda asked me to do. So I want to be really clear. You cannot buy this if you wanted to. Right? It is not for sale. But every single person who steps into Hardcore Leadership is going to have the opportunity to come to my Inspired Speaker Live training. It is a 2-day intimate training that you actually still have to put in the application, because Chanda, if I saw on there that somebody's not serious, I'll talk to them about doing something else. This is a serious room of committed people. So if you've already purchased Hardcore Leadership, she wouldn't be mean that way. If you've already purchased it or you purchased today, you are going to get my training, Inspired Speaker Live. It's 2-day virtual, so you don't have to go anywhere. It's virtual, 2-day training on exactly how to become a 7-figure speaker. Exactly how to become what Chanda paid $75,000 for and was a pain in the ass.
It was not a pain in the ass.
You were an amazing client. You're an amazing client. I'm kidding. Well, you were getting started speaking. It took you too long. That part is true, right? And I don't want it to take you that long. So you'll be able to join me for my 2-day training. What's going to happen in that 2-day training? You're going to develop your story. You're going to craft your speech. You are going to understand speaker math. You're going to know how to book gigs. We are going to work on captivation. We are going to work on taking your speech and creating your topic tree from it that creates your content for an entire year, right? This is heavy lifting for 2 days. If you cannot be there for all 2 days, we're going to invite you to do something else later because it won't work, right? This is a cumulative training, but all you have to do is fill out the form that you'll get, the little application you'll get once you join HCL, and every single person who's already joined, or all of you joining today. So let me just say this to you. If you were on today and you got a rumble in your tummy, you said, I want to be a speaker. Like, I want to be a leader. I want to be visible. I want to be seen, right? Stop waiting for your sign. This is it. Join HCL and get the leadership side of this, right? You're going to get the vision. You're going to get the vision for your life, for your business, for your income, for your family. And then you're actually going to get that breakthrough. You're going to get that breakthrough. And then you're going to put it all into practice. And that, my friends, is your speaking material. So you combine those things together and you are unstoppable. And you are the sought after leader in your industry. So it makes so much sense to step into the leadership program, because you can't make money unless you know how to lead. You can't make a difference if you don't know how to lead. And you can't make a life if you don't know how to lead.
So good. So you go to joinhclnow.com. I put a link there, joinhclnow.com. Go there right now. I am going to keep Suzanne's bonus up for today. That's it. I'm going to send you emails if you're registered for this challenge. I'm going to send you pocket coaching. I'm going to help encourage your mind to be able to jump in, because this is so important. It took me $75,000. Even when you're saying that, I was like, gosh, I should sit through that again, right? It took me $75,000 to be able to have this woman help me craft my story and get up there. And by the way, it's not good enough to just know how to do it once. You need to know how, when you walk into a room, like when you walked into a room and it's an all boys club, right? It's like you have to shift. Yeah, and this is what drives me crazy about people like, what's my message? What's my message? Your message will change. It will change. It will freaking change. As the world changes, your message will change. Notice that she's talking about high tech. She's talking about AI, essentially. She's talking about the world changing. She's talking about the recession. You got to have a vision, right? So the whole training is you've got 3 days in vision, which is virtual, right? It's 3 full days. 4 days in breakthrough. People ask me, what's the date for it? It doesn't matter. They're every month. They're every month. It's actually more like, how quickly can I get in? Is the next one sold out? So go to joinhclnow.com, because you don't want to be in a position where it is sold out. It might be sold out. The next one might be sold out, right? And so my point is that you can pick a date. Stop letting these weed conversations stop you from winning, right? Like, I never asked Suzanne, when's your mastermind? I don't care. I'm going to clear the calendar because I want the result. Do you hear what I'm saying? So this is the type of thinking. You have to have courageous thinking where, like, I'll figure it out.
This is not calendared. Success is not calendared. Leadership is not calendared. I don't sit around and wait for something to free up for me to be a leader, and you shouldn't either. So the dates don't matter. All that matters is this the time for me to lead my life into the success that I want to have?
I want to give a little thing because I'm here at 10X, right? Grant Cardone sold out his last event. He oversells it. So he's not even worried about, he's not even, they sold every seat 1.5 times. So every seat was sold 1.5 times. So they oversell the event. And he's like, I still can't completely sell out an event. Like, he's like, I'm waiting for a standing room outside and us to get caught where people are trying to get into the room and we've totally screwed it up. Like, he's like, that's my idea of sold out, not every seat filled. But I share this with you because nobody knew the date. He didn't know the date and he didn't know the location. He just knew he was doing it. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? And so think about yourself. Right? Think about yourself and how many things you hold back because you either need all the details or you can't launch that book till you have the details, or you can't. I'm like, come on, guys, like, unleash yourself. So I share this with you because 3 days is vision. It's 3 full days. That's going to get you so that you can see bigger. Like, I'll do an event without a date. Breakthrough is 4 days, right? I can't get you to take action until we get you through vision breakthrough. I need these 2 workshops to be able to get you primed so that in practice, you got 90 days, you put up any goal. So now today you're getting Suzanne's speaker program, right? And we're going to keep that open. It's going to be a daily bonus. I'm going to shut it off at 10 p.m., right? Don't wait till 10 p.m. because you're just going to suffer, right? Don't wait till, pretend it's going away in 10 minutes, right? And what would you do if you could learn how to speak like her, learn how to speak like she's taught me, from a girl who never wanted to speak? Remember, Suzanne, I remember saying to you, I don't want to do a live stream. And she was like, I don't care if you don't want to do a live stream. Your audience needs you to do a live stream. Do a live stream. So when live streaming was just coming out, right? It's like, you need leaders. First of all, some of you guys need to join this program. You need to get your husband, your girlfriend, your best friend, everybody to come join, because you need people like this type of friendship. How many guys agree with me on that? Put yes, right? You need friendships like this that hold you higher, that don't tell you to rest, take a break. They're actually saying, listen, build your life so you have breaks in it. Build your life so you have vacations in it. And don't look at the price tag of whatever it's costing you to fly somewhere, and fly first class, because it sucks to fly to Europe in economy. It sucks, right? My son at 8 is flying first class to Ireland in a couple of weeks. He's flying first class. I'm happy with him. I don't want my kids to
I gotta tell you this. Adrian, we said we wouldn't go. We couldn't go.
Adrian's your son, by the way.
I have a 6-year-old son that I homeschool, and he said, I want to go to da da da. And Melanie said, sweetie, the flights are too complicated. She was like, it's like, we got to go here. We'll do that next time. He goes, so fly private.
That's right.
And I was like, he's a problem solver. He's a problem solver, right? When you have that life, it's like, don't tell me we can't do something. There's always a way to solve a problem. That's leadership.
Yep. That's leadership, 100%. So I'm just sharing this with you guys because I can tell you this from the honest to God, bottom of my heart, top of my heart, middle of my heart. You literally, if you've taken programs in the past and they haven't worked, if people have taken your training, Suzanne, it hasn't worked, it's because of their leadership. It is not because it doesn't work, because I can stand here right now and say I've made millions of dollars from a girl who never wanted to speak, right? Never wanted to. I was an absolute resistance, no go. I don't want to speak, okay? And I made millions of dollars. If I would have listened to that, if I would have listened to my feelings, I never would have committed to the result of helping people the way that I've helped. And so I'm saying, I know the problem, and the problem is leadership. And my highest income entrepreneurs are the ones who've done this leadership program. So I'm not going to keep convincing you. I'm telling you, this is your opportunity to jump in the door. I'm going to raise the price back up to 5,000. If you don't take it now,
when is it over? Like, when's the opportunity over, Shanda? Like, how long do they have today?
Well, we're shutting down your offer today. So the offer is shutting down today, right? So you got to jump in. You got to jump in now. And Suzanne, any final words? And I'm going to hand you over to VIP.
Yeah, I would say that, I've made money out of bad programs because I
know. Me too.
Right? Like, I've been in programs before where I thought, oh God, like this is insane. I just spent, I'll tell you, let me tell you really quickly. I spent $25,000 this year with a super well-known person who kind of specializes in funnels and copy. And it was a train wreck. They clearly aren't a train wreck all the time. They have a success, but it just was a train wreck. It was an absolute train wreck. They kind of knew it was a train wreck. And you know what? We took that and turned it into something because we're problem solvers, because we have our own leadership skills. And so you'll get something out of everything. You'll get something out of every heartbreak. You'll get something out of every headache. You'll get something out of everything, bad and good, if you understand how to problem solve and be a leader. So the last thing I would say is,
Billy's asking, Billy wants to know, he wants you to re-say again what your bonus is for people who jump into Hardcore Leadership.
oh, yes. So it's a 2-day speaker training called Inspire Speaker Live. It's a virtual training. It's going to be, I do events just like Shanna does, that my last event had 800 plus people there. This will be a smaller, intimate event for 2 days. And that's why we're kind of making people fill out a little application to make sure you're right in the room. So 2 days to walk out of there understanding how to be a six-figure, multiple six-figure, seven-figure speaker.
So good. So we're going to add that to everybody who jumped in this week to Hardcore Leadership. Go to joinhclnow.com. And here's Suzanne. So I'm going to pass you on, Suzanne, to VIP. And I want to share this another thing. 17,000 people registered for this. And I think 400 or 500 people jumped into VIP. And then I gave an opportunity yesterday for people to jump into VIP to be able to sit with you, because I'm going jet skiing with all these guys at Grant Cardone's house right now. Probably do a couple good deals in the house. And he challenged me the other day. He gave me a really good challenge, a $50 million challenge. $50 million challenge in a very short period of time. And that's fun to stretch. In leadership, we call it a stretch. Instead of like, if something's not going, oh snap, I don't know how to do that, then you're playing too small. We only got one life, right? It's like, I was like, I don't know if I can do that. He's like, let me show you how you can do that. How many products and services have you sold? I said, blah, blah, blah. He goes, that's way harder than this. Let me show you how to do this, right? And I asked him today, I said, how would you approach this? He goes, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. It's going to change your life. It's the stickiest thing I do in my whole life, right? So I share this with you because I want you to sit in the rooms, and some of you guys got to make the money to sit in some of the rooms. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sucks when I'm saying, if I say, Suzanne, Melanie, let's go to Europe with our kids, like, we can go. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I got to check the bill, we can go. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to sound materialistic, but you know what? Money does not ruin good people. If you're already a good person, money makes you even better. It just does.
It's an amplifier. Money is an amplifier. It amplifies what you already are. Money is not the most important thing in the world, but it touches everything that is.
Love. I say that touches everything you love. So funny. See, the higher you go in the income brackets, you start to learn a few things. All right, you guys, I'm going to move Suzanne over to VIP. We will see you guys Monday. We're going to run one more week on 7-figure frameworks. If you haven't started implementing something yet, you should. Again, that's your leadership. If you haven't made a sale since Monday, and I've taught for 5 days, if you haven't implemented and made a sale, that's your leadership. May I say no more? How long are you going to sit there for? I'll see you Monday. Jump into
Love you, Shanda.
Bye. You're staying on.
I know. I'm not going anywhere.
So good. So good. Okay, VIP, love her up. I'm super, super happy to hand her over to you. It's such a nice, intimate group. A lot of times we've got 500 people, 600 people sitting on VIP. So you guys are totally going to have a great time with her. And I'm going to go jet skiing. So the power of keep the challenge going, no matter what's going on in your life. You don't have to have everything perfect. This is a demonstration of leadership. I know she can hold you and she can help you. All right, my team, take care of Suzanne. Talk to you soon.
Bye, sweetie. Okay, hello, everybody. I see hands already up. So if you've got a question, we're going to blow through them as quickly